Hello there, my fellow Bloodborne fanatics. What's up? It's Robbie with Overworld Games, and man oh man, Bloodborne is almost here. The wait is almost over. March 24th is the date. I'm sure many of you already have it circled on your calendars, but in this video we're going over a ton of brand new details about the game world, total game length, new game plus, a great detail about weapons, how much we can expect, and then also outfits and armor. So if you don't want to spoil anything, you can use that video guide and skip ahead to the details that you seek, of course, but I promise you that there will be no story spoilers here for Bloodborne, so you don't have to worry about that. So guys, here we go. We're talking about Bloodborne. So if you're already a fan of Dark Souls, Demon Souls, I'm pretty sure you've already made up your mind and you're going to get Bloodborne like me. Now, for those of you that are new to the series, $60 is a lot of money. You're probably wondering, how long is the game? Well, the game is around 40 to 45 hours long according to current estimates. Players that have actually gone through and have defeated the game have been reporting that's about that length, and of course it's going to vary dependent on your familiarity with Bloodborne and how good of a Souls player you really are. So consider that before you judge the game's length. But 45 hours is actually really good, so that's good news. And again, there is New Game Plus, which we're going to go into later on in the video. So during those 45 hours, expect this game to be extremely hard. Now, the rumors are this game is actually harder than Demon Souls and Dark Souls, which is saying something. So if you are familiar with Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 as well as Demon Souls, this will be the game for you for sure. But don't worry, the world is a place you are going to want to stay in. Now, the game is running at 30 frames per second. It's running at a solid frames, which is really good news. And there is no dynamic day and night cycle, which is sort of a shame. However, time of day and night is based on story progression, and it will have gameplay influence. That influence, of course, has yet to be seen, but it's so exciting to know that you will be returning to areas and nighttime will have fallen, and then the gameplay will have changed. Maybe we will be seeing new enemy placements. That's something that I definitely think will likely be in Bloodborne. Now, one of the first areas of the world you will explore is the Hunter's Dream. This acts like the Nexus from Demon Souls. This is awesome news. It's one of my favorite places, the Nexus from Demon Souls, in all of gaming. It was just such a majestic place. If you remember the maiden that was standing there. Well, it's rumored that we will be seeing that exact same system from the Nexus. You will have, tombstones that you can go to and warp to different zones within the world. Of course, everything is still interconnected like Dark Souls. You still have lantern checkpoints. They're called lantern checkpoints now, that are not overabundant like the bonfires of Dark Souls 2. So by unlocking these and finding these lantern checkpoints, you open up shortcuts rather than getting new bonfires. So it's more like Demon Souls in that regard as well. So this Hunter's Dream is apparently a hub world separated from the game world, much like the Nexus. And I guess it makes the world more believable. I really did love this system in Demon Souls. It still felt very free and very much open worldy. So I was thrilled to hear that this system has actually returned in Bloodborne. So before heading into battle in Bloodborne, you're going to want to know that the control scheme has actually changed a little bit now. Two-handed is now handled with L1 opposed to, what we were used to, which was triangle. Triangle is now dedicated to the healing button. So your healing items and healing spells go straight into the triangle button. This is really cool though, because, healing yourself doesn't take much time at all in the game. It is very fast paced, which is also true of most of the game. The game basically runs 2 to 3 times faster than previous Souls games. That is, enemy reaction times are 2 to 3 times faster. They will attack 2 to 3 times faster. And you are expected to respond and be more on the offensive 2 to 3 times faster. So they really want you on your toes in Bloodborne. So I've heard this term mentioned everywhere within the Bloodborne community. Has the game seen a graphical downgrade? Well, the reports are No, absolutely not. The game is gorgeous. It's running at 30 frames per second. It's not dipping at all below that. That was one of my big worries. You know, Dark Souls had some frame rate issues, and then they pretty much fixed all of them in Dark Souls 2. So this is a really good trend to see. You know, Demon Souls really ran at a nice steady frame rate, and it seems like that's returning in Bloodborne. So awesome news. So what about the weapons, outfits, and items in Bloodborne? Well, good news, it seems like there's a wide variety of weapons. Now remember, there might be less weapons simply because when you pick up one weapon, it's like picking up two weapons. They can transform and mutate into whole other different monsters, so to speak. So basically from one playthrough, a fellow gamer found 14 unique trick weapons and 12 offhand weapons. But apparently there's a lot more throughout the game in both of those categories. They also went on to find 19 full sets of clothing and armor during their time in Bloodborne. This is about 40 to 45 hours of play time in Bloodborne. So it seems like there's a wide variety of weapons again, so I'm not really too worried about the weapon count, and all of them are extremely unique, more so than previous Souls games. You can actually find out more details about weapons by following the link in the description below. There's a huge article about it. I'm going to include all of the resources in the description, so be sure to check it out. So yes, co-op and online is returning in Bloodborne. You can expect to play with 3 other players in the game, and this is how it works. So be warned, when you invite someone into your game world, apparently you also invite what is called a spell maiden, who initiates PvP and invites invaders. So basically, when you are asking for help, you're also asking for trouble, so be warned. Now, once you are all teamed up, the goal is to beat the boss within that level. Once you beat the boss as a team, you guys get a huge reward. But unfortunately, and this is sort of a bummer, you guys are disconnected and you have to find each other again. I hope that eventually in the Soul series, they stop this and allow you to just keep going through the world and keep moving on from level to level without being disconnected. So hopefully we see that eventually. Now this is really cool. You can actually use passwords with co-op. This is going to be extremely useful with co-oping with friends. So basically you set a password for your session, and then other players can enter the same password and therefore be joined to your game. Now this only works for cooperative play currently. It does not work for PvP, but it is a wonderful system to have, and it's nice to know that they are now encouraging friends to play together in this type of game. So yes, PvP is returning. This is the way you will really be testing out your hunter and his weapons and armor in the game. Now, certain areas in the game also encourage you to invade another player's game with 2 hunters, so it could be 2 versus 1, and it could be quite unbalanced, of course, but that is the fun with Bloodborne, is really just accepting the challenges and then also knowing when you are at a loss and trying again. So basically, the Bell Maiden needs to be present, first of all, for PvP invasions to work. So the guest who wants to invade uses the sinister resonant bell item and then commences his invasion onto what is known as the host, or the poor innocent hunter trying to survive in Yharnam. So basically, it's just like Dark Souls, to expect to die a lot. So asynchronous multiplayer returns in Bloodborne. Yes, you could still leave notes, you can be as deceptive as you want or helpful. Now again, you can upvote these or downvote them. You can let other players know that, hey, beware of this note. It's part of the fun, really, with these type of games. Now also, there is the Spectre. Players will leave behind a tombstone when they die. Now this is like the bloodstains from Dark Souls and the Souls franchise. So if you touch one of these tombstones, you can see sort of a replay displaying their terrible final moments. I love this feature. I cannot wait to leave behind my tombstone so you guys can watch my terrible death. And yes, player ghosts are returning, so you will be seeing me roaming in your game. So here is the big wrinkle for Bloodborne, and that is the Chalice Dungeons. These are the randomly generated dungeons that you can play with your friends. You can even create your own, share them with friends, and then experience them together. I guess they are absolutely massive and filled with tons of fatal traps hidden throughout the dungeons. And then also, this is really good news, it was something I was concerned about, there's a lot of architectural variety. I guess these places are huge. They are not limited to simple rooms or hallways. And they can also contain murky swamps, narrow rocky corridors, and even grand ornate halls teeming with rich detail. Now, this is important to remember. You can keep up to 5 dungeons configured in your Chalice Dungeon stock. So these are the dungeons that you're likely going to want to share with your friends. It sounds like you could save them for later use and go back and try to defeat them. I'm not too sure exactly how that works, but it sounds like you're going to be spending a lot of your end-game time in the Chalice Dungeons. So expect new types of threats in the Chalice Dungeons, of course, new bosses, new enemy types. It's going to be a ton of fun just returning to them and seeing how they are generating. I'm really curious to see how this feature in particular works. If you can start noticing that it's a repeating level, which I'm hearing is not the case. Again, from the reviews that have come out from Edge Magazine, and then also from players that have actually taken the time out to complete the game, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. And this was to be expected. I mean, we're talking about, From Software. They created Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2. These are all, guys, absolutely amazing games. I love From Software's story, by the way. They were not supposed to succeed. Everything was going against them. A lot of companies said this game is too hard. This is going to be boring. No one likes your game. And then they had a very low budget. They didn't have any advertising. And it's just such an awesome story to hear that their franchise has gotten this huge over the years. So guys, I'm really excited for March 24th. I hope you guys come and join me right here on Open World Games. We will be celebrating Bloodborne's release for sure. I hope somehow I can do co-op here on Open World Games if I have time. But again, we're going to be celebrating it big time. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Again, we are Open World Games. That's what we cover. We have a huge backlog of Bloodborne videos you guys can check out. Subscribe to stay updated on Bloodborne. And guys, we also are out on Facebook, Twitter, and of course right here on YouTube. But thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
And when night falls, the hunters return.